Best experienced with headphones. Sometimes it hums. A low vibration felt more in the bones than in the ears. Sometimes it burns, shimmering with heat until the horizon trembles like a mirage. And sometimes, in the heart of Mexico, it swallows every word, every note, every signal, as if the air itself has decided to forget how to carry sound. This is La Zona del Silencio, the zone of silence, a place where compasses falter, radios dissolve into static, and even a whisper can seem to vanish an inch from your mouth. A place where silence becomes more than absence. It becomes presence. The Mapimí desert stretches endlessly in all directions, a sea of pale dust, thorn scrub, and stone. The land is harsh and skeletal, shaped by heat and time, yet it carries something more than its barrenness. Here the silence presses on travelers like a weight, thick and watchful. The sky is impossibly wide, cut open by sunlight so fierce, it seems alive. At night the stars sharpen to knives of light, hanging low as though they could be plucked from the black. But beneath that sky lies a hush that does not comfort. It suffocates. In 1970, the modern world was forced to look at this forgotten place. An American missile launched from New Mexico veered wildly off its course and landed deep in this desert. Teams were sent to recover it, armed with radios and maps. But their equipment betrayed them. Compasses spun. Signals died. The desert mocked their precision. They brought back the wreckage, but also stories. Stories of a land that refused to cooperate with science. A land that silenced the very tools of certainty. Locals were not surprised. They said the land had always been this way. But the stories are older than any missile. For centuries before machines or maps, the people of the desert told of a forbidden zone where the gods themselves smothered sound. Hunters would skirt it in a wide arc, leaving offerings of water or salt at its edges, for fear of offending whatever lived in its silence. They whispered that those who slept within its boundaries woke, changed, forgetful, disoriented, haunted by dreams too heavy to shake. Some never returned at all. The desert was not empty, they said. It listened. To step into the zone is to feel it. Your footsteps fall flat, muffled as though into cloth. The air is charged, a subtle vibration thrumming at the edge of perception. Birds wheel wide around it. Animals avoid its heart. And when the wind dies, the quiet does not soothe. It sharpens. A hush that seems to wait, as if expecting you to break it. You realize slowly that you are not just walking across the land. The land is walking around you. Scientists came drawn by curiosity and reputation. They studied the soil, rich with iron and heavy with the debris of fallen meteorites. They measured invisible currents that tugged at compasses and warped signals. They observed plants blooming with colors strange to their species, tortoises that grew outsized, lizards marked with patterns unseen elsewhere. Some spoke of magnetism, others suspected radiation. Yet every theory dissolved in the same silence. Their data was real, but incomplete. The desert resisted being pinned down, and, still, the stories multiplied. A rancher, walking home at dusk, claimed she met 3 tall figures dressed in pale suits and broad hats. They asked for water in a soft, unfamiliar Spanish. She turned to point them toward her well. When she looked back, they were gone. Their footprints ended mid-step in the dust. A traveler swore that glowing orbs circled his camp one night, drifting slowly like lanterns with a will of their own. Another said that while walking beneath the stars, his own breath fell soundless, as though his chest rose and fell in vain. the desert had muted him. Others told of storms that appeared from nowhere. Lightning without thunder. Rain that fell warm and metallic, leaving the taste of iron on the tongue. In the morning, circles appeared in the sand, perfect, deliberate, dark at the center, fading at the edges. Some claimed they were marks of visitors descending from the sky. Others insisted they were the footprints of ancient gods, pressed into the desert like signatures. Each story deepened the zone's reputation. Newspapers named it Mexico's Bermuda Triangle. UFO hunters claimed it was a landing site. Mystics declared it a threshold between worlds, a doorway to hidden planes of existence. Some insisted it lay on a band of energy that stretched across the globe, linking sacred sites in an invisible net. Others warned that it was cursed, a wound in the earth that infected those who lingered. The Mexican government, caught between ridicule and fascination, built a small research station in the 1970s. They studied its flora, its fauna, its soil. They catalogued anomalies, charted the stars above its still air, and admitted, quietly, that something remained unexplained. The silence was not uniform, not predictable. It shifted, moved, concealed itself. Sometimes the zone swallowed everything, and sometimes it was only a whisper. But always it was there. Skeptics shrugged. They said the stories were exaggeration. The phenomena, the predictable mischief of magnetism and minerals. But even the skeptics hesitated when their equipment failed, when their own voices seemed thinner, when the hush pressed too close. Folklore or science, it made no difference. The silence was real. Those who live near the zone do not call it mystery. They call it neighbor. They advise travelers to walk softly, to leave small offerings of food or water, to keep their voices low after dark. They say arrogance is punished here, that the land remembers disrespect. The zone is not a puzzle to be cracked. It is a presence to be endured. Time itself feels distorted. Shadows bend strangely. A walk that should last minutes stretches endlessly. Hours collapse into moments. Travelers return with the sense that they were gone longer than they truly were. Others return convinced that something unseen followed them out, lingering just beyond the corner of their perception. At night, the zone reveals its most haunting secret. Lights rise above the desert floor, white, amber, green. They hover and pulse, scatter and reunite. Watch them long enough and they feel alive, like eyes studying the intruders below. They do not follow the patterns of stars or aircraft. They drift with intention, as if guided by something older than the sky. And perhaps that is why the zone endures. In a world deafened by signals, wires, and endless noise, this is a place that refuses. Technology falters. Myth takes its place. Travelers come searching for certainty and leave carrying silence. A silence they cannot explain, but cannot forget. Some leave frightened, others leave reverent. A few return, drawn back to the hush like moths to flame. They say the zone is not hostile but curious, not cruel but strict. A teacher that refuses to use words. The zone of silence remains, barren, unyielding, haunted. A desert where compasses spin, where voices vanish, where silence itself becomes a presence. It asks no questions. It offers no answers. It simply is. A key, still turning. A voice, still speaking. A beginning, still unfolding.